Hello. Hi, everybody. How are you? Welcome to another IELTS Journey with Fabi, where we talk about everything and anything IELTS test. Okay, so here, if you need information about the IELTS test, you are in the right place. Okay, and for those of you who don't know me, my name is Fabi. I'm an English teacher, and I help people get the score they need on the IELTS test. To do the test only once. No one should be doing the IELTS test more than once. All right. And today we're going to talk about writing. Please put it in the chat. Do you have problems with writing? Tell me. If you have problems with writing, just say me. Yeah, guys. So today we're going to talk about anxiety in the writing part of the IELTS test. So lots of people have problems with the writing. Someone said sometimes vocabulary. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? What exactly about vocabulary? You know the words, but you can't remember. You don't know the spelling. You don't know the words for specific topics. Or you kind of know, but you can remember. You know, but it just doesn't come to you. Can you just give me more details? And guys, people who are watching me on YouTube or Instagram, pop comments in and questions in. Sometimes I don't get to your question straight away, but I'll get to it at the end probably. Okay, let me see. The accurate topics of words. Yeah. So that's one thing, guys, that I always work with my students is this is the topic. What are some good words we could use here? Because remember, especially if you want a 7 or more, okay, guys, let me put this close to me. Especially if you want a 7 or more, you need to have really good vocabulary. Okay. And again, that's not the kind of thing that you do one day before the test. You build. Okay. I was helping, we had our class, our lesson yesterday for my course, IELTS with Fabi. And I was talking to my students about that, how important it is to have your list. And some people have already a very long list full of words that will help them with the test. Okay. Because, sorry, because if you start writing, okay, sometimes like Alejandra said, Alejandra said, you forget the words. But if you've been practicing and working on it, you are not going to forget the words. You're going to remember because you get used to it. All right? You get used to it. Okay. But again, so Alejandra, so today we're going to talk about anxiety, not knowing what to write, that kind of stuff. So, Alejandra, if you know this is a problem for you, my recommendation would be start working on that today. Okay, start working on that today. Um, if you have been watching me for a while, if you're in my course, if you have been in my course before, you will know that I always work with strengths and weaknesses with my students. But why do we do that? Why? Because you have to know what you're good at and what you're bad at. And you have to know what you need to improve. Alejandro just said something. I can't remember the words I'm going to write, and I don't know the words. She should start thinking about that today and something that she can do to improve. Otherwise, she will always have this problem. Always, always, always. All right. Comment here. Oh, this is my first time here. Welcome. Someone on YouTube saying, my first time. Welcome. All right. Okay, guys. So keep popping questions in. Alejandro, if you have any other questions, just pop them in, okay? Based on what I said. All right, cool. So, Fabi, is it common to feel this nervous doing the writing? Yes, it is very common, guys. It is common. Why? People don't write anymore. People don't write anymore. And another thing that happens is here in Australia, okay, when I'm helping people at the school where I teach, when I'm helping people in my course, when we start talking about writing, especially people from Colombia, I notice this a lot with people from Colombia. Do you know the first thing they tell me? I start explaining the essay, what the essay is like. Do you know the first thing they tell me is, Fabi, in Colombia, we write differently. Okay. I don't know if this is your case, but I'd say that 60 to 70% of my students from Colombia, when I start explaining to them how to write an essay, a good essay in English, a good essay for the IELTS test, a good essay if you want to go to university in English, it's very different from what you guys are used to. Very, very different. And that is a reason to cause anxiety. So even if you have been practicing, maybe it's different in English, okay? But that shouldn't be a reason for you guys to complain. That should be a reason for you to think, oh my God, I know how to write, but I just have to adapt a little bit, change a little bit. But this is a reason for you to be anxious, yes. But don't be anxious for too long. Okay? Don't be anxious for too long. All right. Because if you are anxious, if I show you what the writing looks like, and then you tell me that you know how to do it, but it's completely different, I can see why you could be a little bit upset. I can see that, but don't be upset for a long time. Okay. You know you have to work on it. So you focus on working on it. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about it. A little bit about it. And I have a very good story to share with you after I talk about this one. Okay, guys. So, like I just said, maybe you know how to write, you do well in your country, in your language, but then when it comes to English, you go, oh my God. And there are some people who say, I can't even write in my own language, and you want me to write in English. What's going on? Well, guys, the thing is, uh, whatever you want to achieve in English, okay, if you want to study abroad, if you want to live abroad, if you want to work abroad, you will need to write well. You need to know how to write. And that's why I'm here to help you with that. That's why I help my students. So they can get a good score on the IELTS test and achieve whatever they want to achieve. Okay. However, if you keep thinking that you can't do it, then you will never be able to do it. Okay, guys, Juju wants to go outside. 1 second, please. Every day now. Come on, Juju. Okay, so the door was closed. She wants to go outside. Maybe in 5 minutes she will want to come back, and I have to open the door again for her. Might as well leave the door open, right? Okay, sorry, guys. So, as I was saying, so if you think you can't do it, then you can't do it. All right? If you think you can't, then you can't. So that's the very first thing you have to think about. Okay. Oh, I'm scared. Sorry. Oh my God. Okay. So, um, if you have been with me for a while, you know I've said that before and I'm going to repeat it again. The best way to improve your confidence is practice. Is practice. All right? Practice. So, just recently, I started helping some other students, and I told them how to write an essay. Just like I do in my course, this essay was a little bit different because it was a different group of students that I was helping. And I just told them the structure, just the structure. Okay, I just helped them with the structure. I told them how many paragraphs they need and all of that, how many sentences they need. And we practiced a little bit together, but we didn't practice a lot because that wasn't the focus, right? It's just something extra that we were doing. And then this student, last minute, needed to do the IELTS test. Last minute. Okay. And then this student was like, oh my God, I have to do the IELTS test. What am I going to do now? But this student knew that what I told him about writing would work on the IELTS test. And he was like, well, I had that lesson with Fabi, she told me how to write the essay. I'm just going to try and write the essay on the day of the test, right? And then I think he was told he needed to do the IELTS test on a Monday. He booked the test for Thursday. Had never done the test before. So he tried to practice by himself. And can you believe that his highest score was writing, just because he didn't need a really high score and his level of English was okay. So his highest score was writing. And he said to me, he said, Fabi, when I went to do the test, I knew what I was doing. I felt relaxed because you told me how to do the writing. So, guys, if you are anxious about the writing, the first thing you have to do is start practicing. Start practicing. I uh, I gave the feedback for my course IELTS with Fabi. I gave the feedback to some of my students last week. I gave them the feedback, and some of the students, they missed a few things because there was a time limit, they couldn't finish, but some students did really, really well. But guess what? The people who didn't do so well, they already improved. And the people who did well, they are very close to their goal. And again, you take the time, okay? You analyze, you learn what you have to do. And after that, you have to practice. And not only practice, guys, not only practice. Not only practice, you have to get feedback. Actually, one of my students, I sent the feedback by email last week. And yesterday she said, Fabi, I didn't get your feedback. I said, yes, I sent it to you. And he's like, no, I don't have the email, because I sent them a video, right? I sent them a video of me checking the writing. And she's like, oh my God, I found it. It was in the spam. I was like, oh yeah, that sometimes go to spam. And then when she saw the video, she said, oh my God, I didn't know my writing was so good. I've been writing for a long time, but I didn't know it was so good. I'm very close to my goal. I said, yes, you are. And then she got very excited. You see? Very excited. But then the people who are not that close to their goal, at least they know what they have to do to get closer to it. Okay. And that's the main thing. She wasn't confident. But after I told her, oh, it's not too bad, she became more confident. And that's why it's a mix, guys. So when it comes to being anxious, the reason people are anxious is because you don't believe in yourself. You think you can do it. Okay. For all the reasons we talked about before. Okay. For all the reasons we talked about before. Maybe it's different in English. Maybe you don't think you can. All right. But then we have to do things that will help us improve that feeling. One of the things is practice. Practice will improve that feeling. Practice will help you um, know what you have to do. So when you get there on the day, you know what to do. Okay. Knowing the structure, getting help from an expert. And the expert will tell you what to do. You will do it. And then the expert has to check if you're doing it right. That's the next step. Because if you just keep practicing by yourself, I had some students who joined my course and they said, "Yeah, I did the IELTS. I did an IELTS course, but I didn't get any feedback. And how do I know I'm improving?" I said, "Yeah, good question. How do you know you're improving?" Okay. So that's one of the things, okay, guys, with that, okay? But then, of course, um I keep talking about writing, 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 writing. And in my in my course, I focus a lot on the structure of the writing, because the structure with the writing, if you have a good structure, you get a 6. That's it. 6. 100% 6. And then if you need a 7, you need to improve your English. And that's where people get stuck. Not only English. Most people who can't get the 7, these people who can't achieve the ikigai, remember the ikigai for the IELTS test? You sit there and you know what you're doing. There's a hair here. I could see it in the light. Um, these are the people who are not improving their English. Okay, guys, so you have to improve your English too. It's 50-50. 50-50. Always, always, always 50-50. Mhm. Because it comes down to what Alejandra was saying. She said, "Oh, vocabulary is my problem." If you know it's your problem, you have to start working on it now. Start working on it now, especially if you need a 7 or more. 100%. Okay, especially if you need a 7 or more. Okay, and I have to be honest, the way I explain the writing, I teach writing, has helped lots and lots of people. Okay, guys, so what I'm telling you here now, it's something that is very simple. Very simple. Of course, to be able to go through all the process, you have to become my student. Okay. But I'm just letting you know some of the things you have to do. If you want to work with me, of course you can. Not now, next year, because as you know, the last enrollment for my course was 2 months ago. But next year, yes, you can work with me next year. Okay, especially in your writing, because in my course we do writing every week, because I know most people struggle, and writing is usually the skill that takes people the longest to improve. And that's why with my students in my course we do writing every single week. Writing every week, every week, every week, because the more you do it, they get the feedback, and then what happens, your confidence improves. And if you are confident, your anxiety goes down. So you're very anxious and you're not very confident. But when your confidence starts to go up, your anxiety goes down. I've seen this happen many, many times. Okay. hmm So, as I said before, okay, to me, good writing, okay, it's structure and English together. If you have both, if you work on both, your anxiety goes down and your score goes up, your confidence goes up. All right. So, organizing your ideas is extremely important too. Knowing the organization, making a plan. Yes, lots of people don't make a plan because they think it's a waste of time. But a plan for writing for the IELTS test will save you time. If you don't agree with me, try. Just try. I've never seen my students who got the 7, they all made a plan. They all made a plan. So you have to make that plan. You have to organize yourself. And that will also lower your anxiety. There are so many strategies, guys, so many things you can do that will lower your anxiety. So many things. Okay. Question here. That's a good idea. It's a great idea. Planning it's the best idea. People who say planning doesn't work are the people who haven't done it right. You have to do it right. You have to do it correctly. If you do it wrong, it's not going to work. Okay? You have to do it right. And it works. I know it works. Okay? It does. All right? I've never seen anyone getting a 7 who didn't make a plan. All right? And again, it works with organization. Okay, organization and getting your ideas, thinking of vocabulary before you start writing. You have to think about your ideas before you start writing, not as you write. That's why you get stuck. That's why your writing is confusing. That's why you don't get a 7. These are the reasons why. I've seen it so many times, guys, so many times. Okay, and that is why. Okay, I'm gonna go over my notes here. Yeah, planning. Okay, yeah. So, and another thing. Um, I have two more things to tell you. Stick with me. Stay with me, please. One more thing. I know that if you have seen videos about writing for the IELTS test, maybe you have worked with some teachers, and I do feel that sometimes people try to complicate things. They try to make things too complex. And when you make things very complex in your writing, you think that the examiner will like it. No. You need good English, you need good grammar, you need accurate grammar, no mistakes. But you don't have to have complex things. The examiner doesn't have a lot of time to read your writing. If your writing is a little bit complex, it will take the examiner a little bit longer. The longer it takes the examiner to read your writing, the lower your score. You probably know that I'm friends with lots of IELTS examiners, lots. And then I tell them, I said, "Oh my God, what about this? What about that?" Do you know what they say to me? "Fabi, just tell your students to keep it simple, clear. That's all we need. Clear, good vocabulary, not a lot of mistakes. That's what we want." And I said, "Okay, no problem." Of course, sometimes I shouldn't try to complicate things, and I go, "No, no, no," and they say, "Oh, but I saw this in a video on YouTube that if you write this, you get a high score." No. Set phrases, they won't work for the IELTS test. They will not work. But why, Fabi? Well, because one set phrase is probably related to a specific topic or a specific question. What if you don't get that question on the day of the test? What if you don't get that topic on the day of the test? You're going to put a sentence or a set phrase that doesn't make any sense. The examiner will go, "Oh my God, this is horrible." 5. Okay. If you're lucky, maybe you can get 6.5. But guys, the examiners know. They know when you just memorize something and you write. They know. They know. Be very careful with that. Be very, very careful with that. Okay? Very, very careful. Okay. And something else that will help you is practice the test under exam conditions. Practicing the test under exam conditions. That's something else that you need to try. Uh, in my course, okay, in my course, we have two types of practice: relaxed practice and under exam conditions practice. Okay, so every time I'm checking my students' writings, I ask them, "How long did it take you to do this? Was it 1 hour or was it 40 minutes?" One essay. If it took my student 1 hour to write an essay, I'm not very happy because on the day of the test, you have 40 minutes to do it. But sometimes people need a little bit longer to practice, which is fine. but then it's not realistic. Okay, so be very careful with that too, guys. I'm practicing. Good. Are you practicing under exam conditions? Because if it takes you an hour and a half to write an essay, that's not realistic because on the day of the test you have 40 minutes. Okay, so practicing under exam condition is also something that you have to consider. All right. Okay. Do you have any questions for me? I'm just going to do a recap with you guys. So today we're talking about anxiety and writing, okay? Fear of writing. You sit down, you don't know what to write, you get really nervous, okay? So there are lots of things you can do. First thing is believe you can. If you think you can't, then you can't. Full stop. That's it. All right? Then focus on the structure. Few people talk about the structure of the writing, but it's one of the most important things. Okay, the structure of the writing. Okay, planning. Please plan your writing. Don't write without planning. Please, 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 please. Okay, focus on being clear. Have a clear piece of writing, because if you don't have a clear piece of writing, the examiner is not going to be able to understand it and you're going to get a low score. Basically, guys, if the examiner has to read the sentence again, you lost a point. Okay. Practice under exam conditions. Yes, you have to practice under exam conditions, guys. Just to know exactly what score you would get if you were doing the real test. Okay. And just relax, try your best to relax, maybe before you go and do the test, just imagine yourself doing the test. What would it be like? Okay. Because my students who were successful were the ones who actually sat down, you know looked the computer. Most people are doing the test on the computer nowadays. Looked the computer and they knew exactly what they had to do. That calms them down. And how do you achieve that? Through practice. You achieve that through practice. Okay. And rest before the test. Don't study the day before the test. I always tell my students, don't study. There is one thing I ask them to do, but it's a secret. Only my students know. There is one thing that I ask them to do, but it's very special for my students. But it's a special activity, but overall, you should not be studying the day before the test. Okay. Question here. How much does the real test cost? Look, I'm in Australia. It's about 400 Australian dollars, and I think it's about 300 American dollars, but it depends on the country, depends on where you are. Okay? So I think it's about 300 American, 400 Australian, I think. Okay, I think. Okay. Any other questions, guys? No more questions? No? You can send questions later. That's fine. Okay. And well, I'll be back here. You're welcome, Mauricio. You're welcome. I'll be back on Thursday. Okay. Talking to you guys again, sharing things that I see every day about the IELTS test. And remember, I'm not here giving you tips. Okay, guys, I'm giving you information about the test. All right. Information about the test, because tips are not going to help you get there. Information about the test, knowing the test more, that's exactly what's going to help you get there. All right. Okay. So I'm going to go now and I'll see you on Thursday. Bye.